Hi everybody, and welcome to Slam-Lines number 2. This is a very brief program for you, and tonight we're very fortunate to have Chloë Jacquet with us, and she is going to host the event. We've already done the open mic draw, so without any more ado, I'm going to hand over to Chloë. Big hand for Chloë Jacquet.
Thank you very much. Like Josephine said, welcome to Slam-Lines, the speed dating of poetry. We're encouraging everybody to leave their mics on so we can get a bit of the sort of audience interaction we would get in a real life event. Obviously, if you've got background noise, you might need to mute yourself. We'll leave that up to you. And the event is being recorded. We've got a fab lineup of spoken word artists tonight and 3 open micers. We'll be starting with Alby, Stockley, then Reid. Then we have our 3 open micers who are Juanita Rea, Jason Conway and Ivor Daniel, and then 3 more spoken word artists who've been invited to close off the show. They are Special K, Nick Lovell and then Brenda Reid Brown. And I will start by warming up the floor with a new piece which feels appropriate for this role of hosting. Roll up to the circus of words. This is the place to come and be heard. Part the curtains of the paper tent, pitched up overnight, supported with pens, and look up overhead at its inky stripes. Step onto the pencil shavings covered ring, discover the place poets gather and share their writing. Come be amazed by the wordsmiths as they juggle. See how they've trained the verbs to tumble. Leaping, rolling, flipping in all directions, bouncing, rebounding off alliteration. Gasp as they lift heavyweight sentences using only the power of their craft, their penmanship. Watch in awe as magical adjectives riding around on the arc of a narrative burst into dazzling displays of colour and texture. Come marvel at a trapeze of similes as light as a feather. See enjambments bend and twist inside tiny couplets like contortionists. Laugh till you cry at a group of nouns, working, playing off each other, clowning around. Cheer, scream, and whoop as wild metaphors jump through flaming hoops. See how the poet deftly controls them with nothing but the flick of a whip of punctuation. Hold your breath as resplendent, sequined imagery makes its way tentatively along the tightrope of a verse, delicately balanced over the gaping void of the writer's innermost universe. Come and delight in the umpa of the orchestra of onomatopoeia, marking the rhythmic beat of the meter in time with hooves made of syllables, creating images, either real or fictional, that will leave a mark on you, indelible. So roll up to the greatest show on earth. Come one, come all to the circus of words. The poet is the ringmaster, taming vocabulary, building human connection through their creativity.
Good girl.
All right, thank you very much. So we will now move swiftly on to our first invited spoken word artist, one of my favourite poets, Alby Stockley. Alby Stockley is a poet, spoken word performer and textile artist based in Kent. Please make some noise for Alby.
Thanks. This is called My Town. My town. The breaking of family, that societal rivalry. Swam in my friend's kidney-shaped swimming pool, her mum's homemade pate on toast before school. 10-minute walk back to my no-go zones, to being robbed for Halloween treats. Jumping fences to see how the other half live, while kids stone my mum because we're newly moved in. I'm 13 with a sprained ankle, chesting off 16-year-old boys, buzzing from adrenaline and a fiery anger. Fitting in is not an option if it means backing down. I've moved from suburb to mobile home to council owned. 17 and I'm repeatedly stopped in the street. Asked with my name while checking my pockets and backy. I wait for the questions I'm familiar with. It's the risk I take for not conforming. Yes, I'm related to, and yes, I'm clean. 19 and I'm homeless, found a new family. Yeah, they're loud and yeah, they drink, but it's their shoulders that soften these streets. Their guidance that teaches me. Got a sleeping bag and new rules for survival. Dropped my shame with the front door key at the place I can't call home. Gathered round recessed doors and mossy tombstones, our homing place shared with pigeons, squirrels and dealers. There's talk of cleaning up these streets. I know it's us at the end of the room they wish to sweep. My town, the haves and have-nots. It's a different perspective when my face is the same level with your feet. 21 and I've got a flat, an alcoholic, a baby, a hamster and a dog. They're all carried in my backpack. It's the tension in my shoulders, the vomit in my migraines. I look at the streets they call Little Beirut, where my friends are too scared to visit. But this is the dirt that's in my bones. Now the chests I'm bouncing off are the addicts and dealers, the faces threatening my home, the council and the police. And my answer's still the same. Yes, I'm related to, and yes, I'm clean. My town, the accepted and the judged, the place you will know when your face doesn't fit. The place where your skin grows extra thick. I've gleaned respect, worked hard to get that shit. I will front you off, tell you to back the fuck up from my door. My town, the shunned and the disgraced. There's the phone, but nobody's calling. Heard on the news there's a better life, but they didn't say the hoops you need to jump are flaming. I'm already blistered on both my hands. My kid can't play in the park. It's full of needles and dog shit. Job seekers tell me there's a yellow brick road, but the bus don't run that far. My town turned all the pubs into wine bars. Now we can't find a place to meet. There's talk of cleaning up these streets, but I know it's us at the bottom of the brush they wish to sweep. They're still asking predictable questions. Yes, I'm related to, and yes, I'm clean. Thank you.
Woo, woo. Make some noise for Alby Stockley. Wow, what a way to kick off. And next up, our second invited poet is one of my favourite poets. This is Brian Reid. Brian Reid is a writer, wordmonger, actor, MC, full-time thinker and occasional warrior. Please make some noise for Brian Reid.
Okay, so this is called Panic Attack, which is quite appropriate, really. This is new terrain in my sightline, unknown landmarks to define, a sense of nascent anxiety, masked with practiced propriety. All bets off, a new set of criteria, the scramble for income, a shortcut to hysteria. I register the fuel warning light and calculate mileage, and behind the clock, no time to stop. 8 hours later and the shift is done, and I rise from the stultifying labour to focus on the journey home. A mile in, the engine splutters and expires. I pull off road with vestigial momentum and rest my head silently on the steering wheel. Finally, a low groan rises unbidden from my chest. It rumbles and writhes into an anguished exclamation. Fuck! After an eternity of prevarication, full of headlights streaking by, I make the call. Can you come and get me, love? She's not amused, and in her Victorian funk, I contemplate the depth of my misery. Everything oppresses me, and the bitter curd of self-pity repeats like a breakfast sausage, and I retch and spit violently into the black cacophony outside. I wait for her and rehearse the inevitable sleep-deprived recriminations in the sure knowledge that quiet acquiescence is the correct course, but we are bickering as only old couples can. Finally, I can bear it no more, and my nose begins to run and a silent tear stains my cheek. And as we pull up, I'm unable to contain the shaking of my shoulders, and she realizes the depths of my distress. No words, just huge, shallow breaths punctuated by gasps and sobs. I feel sick, and my heart is shipwrecked against my ribs. My mind replays every nightmare scenario of death at breakneck speed. GoPro vertigo, slaloming through Dante's Inferno. My wife holds me silently as my tendons contract and I assume a fetal curve, and slowly my breathing abates and the boiling synapses cease sparking, leaving me a twisted hulk of embarrassment and shame, self-image punctured by the vicissitudes of blame. Every smart-ass homily revealed in a naked Gethsemane. I dream fitfully with residual shuddles and a cold hand on my shoulders, and awake slowly in half-remembered sorrow. Good morning just doesn't seem to suffice as a start of the day. Focus returns. I meet her gaze and we embrace, because for me, home is truly a safe space. Thank you.
Wow, such vulnerability. Give it up for Brian. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So now we are on to our open mics who were drawn out of a hat. So first up, and I don't have introductions for the open mics because obviously it was all a surprise. But first up, I don't think I've heard Juanita before, but I am sure she is one of my favorite poets. So could you please make some noise for Juanita Rea, please?
Yay! Thank you. Should I introduce myself?
Sure.
Or just okay. So I wrote a 15 words. Juanita Rea, emerging artist activist, meeting loathing with love on multimedia journeys. My poem is called Lessons Untaught and Learned. Although I studied a 4-year degree in primary education, they didn't teach me what I really needed to learn. They didn't teach me that I'd soon be standing there with barely enough for my groceries and rent and unable to ignore the ache in your bellies. They didn't teach me. So I ordered 2 sandwiches, ate one, and loudly declared, I'm stuffed. Anyone want this? They didn't teach me. So when you were cold, I picked out the unlabeled and unclaimed from the lost and found box, asking, isn't this yours? They didn't teach me. So I pretended not to see your drooping eyes. You slept through the break like you hadn't slept in days. They didn't teach me. So when you struggled to get up those stairs, I asked someone to carry your bag and I carried you. They didn't teach me. So when your fragile voice was drowned out by the noise, I firmly said, some voices are loud, some are soft, all voices are listened to here. They didn't teach me. So when your anger boiled and seethed, I took your hands and said, it's okay to be upset. Just breathe with me. They didn't teach me. So when you told me the racist name they called you, I invited them to call me the same. No, ma'am, we're sorry. They didn't teach me. So when you asked me, ma'am, what are you reading? I read it to you. And that's how we started reading an affirmation every morning. They didn't teach me. So when you laughed out loud, which got all of us laughing, I had to ask again and again, could you please just laugh for us? They didn't teach me. So when you broke into tragedy in the middle of a maths test, I threatened to bring in my ABBA CD. They didn't teach me. So when you asked if you could take turns to light the candle on my desk, I said, sure, just be careful. They didn't teach me. So when you needed more help during the break or after school, I stayed. Because you asked. They didn't teach me about life. They taught me to write lesson plans, never saying that I'd learn the most from the unplanned lessons. They didn't teach me about joy. They taught me about assessment, perhaps not knowing that your happiness meant that I'd pass the test. They didn't teach me about you, and that teaching was mostly learning about me, the me who will always fiercely love you. They didn't teach me about love. You did. And because you taught me, I've learned that the most important lesson in any classroom is simply love.
Beautiful. Make some noise for Juanito. Yeah, the life lessons you have to learn on your own.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Thank you very much. So our next open micer is an integral and essential part of the Gloucestershire Poetry Society. He is one of my favourite poets. Would you please make some noise for Jason Conway?
Oh, Jason.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll go straight into it. This is When in Rome. I squandered lonely as a cloud, all paths cut off, no open ground. The right to roam stripped for all, the warning signs in trees that fall. Too much fence and walls of stone to jigsaw fields with mother's bones. Till the many rise, free man-made binds, with nature explored, not just in mines. I dream to weave through woods and fields, swim lakes and rivers, bathe their yield. Take back the plots from those that hoard and gift green treasures to us all. For what good is grass that's locked away when all should wander, dance and play through treescapes here and grasslands there, the freedom to wander without a care. In waterscapes, through pathway gates, step mountain stairs and great escapes. For no place should be our fear to tread, with no soil to sit and break our bread. No boot to mud, no crack of twig, no inner child to buck and kid. No liquid play in pools of pure, no wonderlands to be our cure. It's time to ease and equal share of verdant treats and feet to dare. Let's educate the need for change, to have a world without fixed lanes. When gardens bloom in children's hearts, that's where the seeds of conservation start. Our earth must switch from being owned to boundaries erased and sins atoned. Unbalanced rules raised with new effects to level our blinding disconnect. With eyes wide open to soak with awe of discovered sights with times to stall. Can we embrace our views as far can see? One land that's open, loved and free.
Yes, free the open spaces. Thank you, Jason. Make some noise for Jason. Right, next up is our third and final open micer before our three last invited poets. Now, the next poet is also somebody I don't think I've heard before, so I look forward to hearing them so they can become one of my favourites. Please make some noise for Ivor Daniel.
Welcome, Ivor.
Thank you. Click on this. Click on this insanely easy way to get rich in the Bitcoin era. The end of the world is nigh, or even nearer. Click on this, put plastic in the ocean, till the 7 seas have a spastic colon. Click on this for the deal of a lifetime, and a charm offensive from Amazon Prime. Click on this for a remodeled nose, and a year's supply of everything from Waitrose. Click on this for a virgin birth, and a month's free trial of peace on earth. Click on this to Botox your future. Click on this for the Kama Sutra. Click on this to lose weight fast. Click on this to improve your past. Click on this, a reality TV president. Populism, narcissism. Who knows where equality went? Click on this for a fairer system. If they have any answers, then I missed them. Click on this for success. Click on this for a virus. Click on this for your dream vaccine, closely pursued by new variant strain. Click on this. When the dog eats the chocolate your lover sent, and we all know those twats in the government are taking the piss. Click on this.
Ooh, make some noise for Ivor.
Hello, Ivor.
Yeah.
The joys of clickbait, huh? All right, now moving on to the first of our final three invited poets. Next up is one of my favorite poets, Special K. Special K plays with words and uses them to tantalize imaginations or uproot your thoughts. Would you please make some noise for Special K?
Go, Special K. Yes, Kimberly.
This is called The Breakup Poem. I want to scream and shout. I want to pick up a pack of cigarettes and beat them into the submission of tightly placed nicotine. I want to close my eyes and inhale deeply on what would be the first of many claustrophobic and all that is bad for me pulls of air. I don't want to care. I want to sit in the shower while water that went cold hours ago cascades down through my hair and runs down my back. I don't want to see you walk away. And yet, this is the memory that has become stuck on instant replay. I want to wrap my hands around your neck. Not in a murderous type of way, but in an all that is sensual way. I want to kiss you madly, deeply, passionately, until my tongue becomes the key and unlocks all this creativity that you supported inside of me. Instead, I am faced with this stark, raving, mad, full-on crazy image. I don't want to want you so desperately. I want to write beautiful soliloquies, poetry that will be crowd-pleasing. I want to be held in your embrace, your strong arms reassuring me that I am safe. I do not want to be in this space that feels so uncomfortable, like a hand-me-down sweater that's already molded itself to a body a trillion times bigger than mine. I want to be held. I want to be healed of this injury. All traces of its pain erased from my memory. Instead, the best friend I'd found in paper and pen stabs me again and again, reminding me of how much my soul misses him. I want to hold it all in and pretend I have no emotions and haven't invested so much of me into what was promised to be till death do us part. I do not want to write a breakup poem. And yet, here it is, 4 a.m., and here I am, paying tribute to him in a breakup poem.
Please give it up for Special K. Yeah, who doesn't know that feeling of not wanting to want someone that they do? Anyway, so messy, isn't it? Thank you very much, Special K. Now, our penultimate invited poet. You're very lucky, he's one of my favorites. Is Nick Lovell. Nick Lovell writes stuff down and then reads it out again. And sometimes people like it. I hope you will. Please make some noise for Nick Lovell.
Thanks. So I thought I'd bring this one out again. It seems kind of appropriate at the moment. Internet, intervene, interweave, deny, apply, deceive, implore, inflame, impeach. Preach, teach, reach, use, revile, renounce, abuse. Facebook, racebook, hate book, what a fucking state book. Brickbats, intellectual spats, racist attacks. Selfish selfies, pictures of cats. Facts debated, castrated and negated. Hashtag, eco bag, dirty slag, fag hag. Sanctimonious, acrimonious. YouTube, you lose, use lube. Adverts, infoverts, docudrama, perverts. Awkward silence, sexual violence, Netflix, Netflops, box sets, chick lit, cheap dreams, quick thrills, sick kicks. Digital manipulation, cognitive stagnation, hatred dissemination, data assimilation. Which 18th century baked pudding were you? Click here to allow us access to your friends list, your phone book, medical records, girlfriend's naughty pictures, and internet banking password to find out. First person, first on scene, first pictures, worst pictures, captive audience, unverified, terrified terrorism, live feed 24/7, news jack redacted, selective news, opposing views, conspiracy heaven, utopian, multicultural, dystopian, disturbing, dysfunctional, perturbing, perverting, instructional, desperately seeking, Tinder and Grindr, Pornhub, quick rub, sly tug, Brazzers expects every girl to do her duty to gobble and be obscene. PVC, BDSM, casual meets dogging, and the occasional freak seeking a good old-fashioned relationship. Spin, 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 win, win, win. Hate, hate, hate casino cashing in on your dreams. Gamble responsibly. And when the fun stops, fuck it. What have you actually got left to lose anyway? Delude, collude, elude. Accusation equals participation. Result, uninformed condemnation, while social justice juries rule on trials by Twitter. In the echo chamber where there's stranger danger. Embittered bigots spitting the vile bar while Pandora laughs the last laugh. Her box ripped open. Now tell me, who does control the past? Thank you.
Ooh.
Oh, Nick.
Check out the rhymes and the sound play in that. Please make some noise for Nick Lovell. All right, we've already reached that bit where we're up for our final invited spoken word poet of the evening. This is Brenda Reid Brown. Brenda is one of my favourite poets. Brenda's blood group is written on her keyring. It says B positive, so she is. Please make some noise and welcome up Brenda Reid Brown.
You're muted, Brenda.
I think somebody needs to unmute her.
No, it's all right. I tried to unmute earlier. I was muted against my will.
Oh, I see. That's Jason's fault.
It's let me do it now. Okay. This is called The Fall. At some point, you'll sink to my level. One morning, you'll wake up and think, today, for the first time, I feel old. You're alone and the cold is fingering your bones, and that bold girl you once were with a yellow dress and clouds to ride, she's gone. Your adventure map is written now in wrinkles, not your future. The sun still shines, but 2 hours out in it would send your face tumbling into the sea. Sag lines droop across your belly like a bad paint job. Everything has had a fall, which is what you say when you reach a certain age. And worst of all, if you live life on the page, is the loss of words. Your extensive it begins with V, means knowing a lot of words. That's vanished along with your 57 pairs of glasses as brain cells trickle like sand through a one-way egg timer. I'm counting time now, but to an unknown number. It's not like preschool or learning French. Count up to 20. It could be 20. I'm pretty tough. I run my 3 miles daily. I drink wine, but my fridge is full of blueberries and salad stuff. My blood pressure is low enough for doctors to check that I'm still upright. And I'm thin enough for one guy to say that it was like making love to a folding chair. So, 20 years of running and blueberries, of dressing and undressing, of buying stuff and throwing stuff away, and of not making love, because let's face it, who wants a folding chair in his bed? and I said that losing words was bad. It's all so sad, and being a concession is no consolation. My words now are of wills, inheritance, preparation. And my daughter is suspicious. Are you planning something? Yes, I want to say. I'm planning to live on a beach in the sky, to throw away my work and my hoarder's weight, free myself from gravity and fly. But yesterday, I fell over. I refuse to say I had a fall, but it's the 3rd time in as many weeks. And I am falling into age, stumbling over feet that can't count, tripping as if I were drugged, which I'm not, though the wine glasses are smaller now and need more frequent refills. My days are getting shorter, and I'm a long way from that girl in the yellow dress. So yes, I am planning something. Perhaps I will live in the sky. I'll take up gliding, count the altitude in meters, count the birds I overtake, count the overweight people on the ground with high blood pressure who eat meat and smoke and don't run, but still throw big smiles around because after all, they're getting fucked. There are worse things than aging. This is true. And you're lucky if you find out what it's like for you, but I hope I never really do. So I'm planning something. I don't know what, but I'll recognize it when my nose hits concrete or sand or the seabed. But whatever it is, whether I'm flying or fucking or landing, I hear the clouds calling and I swear I won't be falling.
Oh, well, good way to end. Huge round of applause for Brenda.
Wow.
How awesome was this evening? We've reached the end of Slam-Lines, the speed dating of poetry. I hope that everybody's found something to fall in love with, or just be like me and have favourites all over the place because you're just completely indiscriminate.
I'm just glad you let me in.
Yeah, glad you made it. So this is the end of the event. The next one is on Tuesday, the 16th of March at 8 p.m. I think if tonight's shown anything, is that it's absolutely worth joining. I think we will have a new host as well next time. Don't be late or you will miss it. I'm Chloë Jacquet. This has been Slam-Lines. Thank you and good night.